Call the meeting to order. Let the record show that this is a regular city council meeting held on Monday, December 18th. All members of council are present and the press has been duly notified. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council is going to remain standing for a moment of silence. During that moment of silence, if you would, please remember Sergeant Neely's son, Logan, who was taken to the hospital this afternoon with a lymph node issue that he has. So if you could remember Logan, Sergeant Neely, and his wife, Melissa, in your prayer tonight. Thank you. All right, our first item on the agenda is item number 1A, is by Devin Bright, who is going to talk to us about recycling bins within the city. And Devin, before you start, we're going to let your dad have a chance to come around here so we can film it for you.
He's confident. Ready to go.
So wait for him to tell you it's good.
I think he's going to be the best presenter all year.
Hello, my name is Devin Bright, and I'd like to thank Mayor Shepard, Mayor Pro Tem O'Neill, and the City Council members, Councilwoman Stafford, Councilwoman Hershey, and Councilman Richard for your time. My presentation is Tega leads the way in environmental sustainability. Tega is the only home I've ever known. I've lived there since I was born in 2008. The city has gone through a lot of changes in the 9 years I've been here, and it's had tremendous growth, but the one thing that hasn't changed is the pride we take in our city. The residents, city council, and mayor have always made sure that TKK leads the way in having the best of everything. It's my belief that given the opportunity, we would lead the way in recycling. We have the opportunity to change the course of our community, produce jobs, save landfill space, save billions of hours of energy, decrease tons of pollution, and strengthen our local economy. Here are some recycling facts. Recycling one aluminum can saves enough electricity to run a TV for over 3 hours.
Wow.
Recycling one glass bottle or jar saves enough electricity to light a 100-watt bulb for 4 hours. Recycling 1 ton of plastic saves the equivalent of 1,000 to 2,000 gallons of gasoline. More than 30 million trees are cut down to produce a year's supply of newspapers. A ton of paper made from recycled paper saves 7,000 gallons of water, between 17 and 31 trees, and 60 pounds of air pollutants. Recycling a pound of steel saves enough energy to light a 60-watt light bulb for 26 hours. Americans use 100 million steel cans, 200 million aluminum beverage cans every day. Let's take a second to think about that. Americans recycle only 5% of plastics produced in this country. It takes between 400 and 500 years for a styrofoam cup to decompose. In contrast, it takes an orange peel 6 months to decompose. Using recycled glass uses 40% less energy than making products from all new materials. Today, almost 22% of the glass produced in the United States is recycled. I participate in many sports in TK, and I've discovered that we don't have any recycling bins at our parks, sports fields, or public areas. We could save thousands of tons from going into our local landfills each year if we give our residents and visitors an opportunity to put their recyclable waste in recycling bins. We're making plans to build a new sports field that will service thousands of visitors and residents, which will produce many more of recyclable waste. I'm asking our city leaders to lead the way in saving our environment and creating local jobs by adding recycling bins to our parks, sports fields, and public areas, such as stores, business centers, and shopping centers.
That's a great idea.
Adding recycling bins will reduce the amount of recyclable waste that goes into our landfills and create more jobs at recycling companies. The city may also be able to broker a profit sharing partnership with recycling companies, which will provide additional revenue for the residents and city government. If you're able to view recycling materials for the great value they are, instead of waste, we can lead the way in changing our state, country, and world. Please take some time to review the additional materials that I provided. That can be reached at tgkway@gmail.com if you'd like additional information. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. So is this the prototype of what you're asking us to have put in our parks?
Sure.
The box right there in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If we don't go with that prototype, Charlie, and we go with the signature waste containers that we have, some of them have the orange tops to them. I guess those are the new ones. Can we talk to our waste management provider to provide those for us? And then can we also ask him to put a dumpster down in the public works lot where he can come and pick that up every 2 weeks? So our employees can take those trash cans and put it into that dumpster, and then Signature Waste can come by and pick it up every 2 weeks.
I feel certain we can work something out, yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Excellent idea.
That's a great idea.
The only part I didn't like about that was the tree part, because I'm a paper salesman. So to tell you, as a matter of fact, trees are a sustainable resource, and the paper industry, for every one tree they cut down, they plant 5. So that, and the largest landholders, absent of the federal government, are tree companies, logging companies, who own majority of the property in the United States and Canada. So it's a sustainable resource, and we do take care of the fact that we have trees, so we have more paper. Just saying.
Is
Put
he
it out
arguing
there.
with the 9-year-old or no?
Thanks for your time, buddy.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Great job.
What a great job, Devin. Wow. That is a great idea. I mean, it's an obvious one.
Yeah. Well, sometimes those are the ones that miss us.
And that's true.
Item number 2 on the agenda is public comments. Are there any public comments? Les? Awesome idea.
Les Woods, I always forget where I live, 1112 Palmharbor Drive. First of all, I want to say, Devin, you did one awesome job.
He
And
did.
thank you for all your looking forwardness. And when I found out that he was going to be talking this evening about recycling, and the first item on Devin's chart was recycling aluminum cans. So I just wanted to give Mayor, City Council, and our residents a quick update on the recycling can trailer we have at the fire station.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for many, many years, and our estimate is, well, it's probably close to 30 years. We have donated more than $50,000
Wow.
to the MUSC Burn Center to help those that are burned and don't have the funds to get the proper treatment. So we're very proud of that, and we continue doing that. And I'd like to take this time to thank Devin for putting that number 1 on your list, because it's very important to all of us in Tega. And we've actually asked for a second burn trailer for the other fire station. They only give out 5 a year. So we're on the list to be voted on in January. So we're keeping our fingers crossed so we can put a second one out. So I'd encourage all residents to come by the can trailer. Right now we have one at the station on Tega Drive. And as soon as that gets full, we tow it down to the recycling center in Rock Hill, get the check, turn the check over to MUSC, and it goes to some good use.
That's
So
wonderful.
I wish to continue everybody following Devin's lead, recycling aluminum cans to help the burn survivors. Thank you.
Perfect.
Les.
Thanks,
Les.
Les.
Are there any other public comments? There being none, closed public comments. Item number 3 on the agenda is the approval of minutes from council meeting of November 20th and the special city council meeting on November 13th. Are there any questions or deletions to those minutes? Hearing none, those minutes stand approved. Item number 4 on the agenda is the applications for 4A is the Economic Development Commission. Council, I believe everyone has submitted their applications to the city manager. Just one point of reference. One of the applicants that's on there is Jim Stalford. Jennifer Stalford's husband. She is recusing herself from the vote, so you should have only 4 applications there.
And Sylvia's going to be bringing y'all updated ballots
That's item 6B.
for,
No, because
no.
there must be ties. or
for
something.
ties. So we can, sorry.
And then item number 4A on the agenda is the Stormwater Committee.
Okay. Is it okay if I ask a question, Mayor? now?
Yes, sure,
About-
please.
About this? So these were all ties, these are not, okay. And vote for 4. Gotcha.
You don't have to,
That's
correct?
what I was
Up to
gonna
4.
ask. Up to 4.
Up to 4, yes.
Got
sir.
it.
And how do you want us to vote for them? Yes, circle, X?
If you'll circle the ones that you are voting for, that should suffice.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
My name's on the top. Our names are on the top of all of them.
Don't peek, Jen. And then we have a ballot for Stormwater Committee. No, we do not.
We don't have a ballot, no.
We have one application, so we need to make a motion to appoint Crystal Goody as to the Stormwater Committee. That is the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by me, seconded by Dottie Hersey. Any questions? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Congratulations. Item number 2 on the agenda is under unfinished business, which second reading of an ordinance to annex tax map number 646000029 and to have it rezoned from BD1 in the county to BD1 in the city. City Manager Charlie Funderburg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As the mayor just stated, tonight before you is the second and final reading for consideration of an ordinance to annex tax map number 646000029 and to rezone it from BD1 in the county to B1 in the city. The property is owned by J&S Real Estate. This is the former Patriot property, former Steve's, Oda's, I think, going back to that. For those that have been around a while, there is a new tenant looking to move in there, continuing to operate it as a food and beverage restaurant establishment. As council has already given a favorable first read to this ordinance, we would request a favorable second at this time.
Thank you, Charlie. Council entertain a motion?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to approve the second reading of an ordinance to annex and rezone tax map number 646000029 from BD1 in the county to B1 in the city.
A motion by Dottie Hersey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by David O'Neill. Any discussion? There being none, call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 5B on the agenda is the Facilities Needs Assessment for questions that council submitted. City Manager Charlie Funderburg.
Oops.
I said it was going to be quick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Based on our conversation at the workshop, as well as just some other conversations that we've had since the workshop, just kind of wanted to talk through things, if that's okay with council, or if council has additional questions, we can either do that now, do it at the end, or we could just do that, however council wants to play it. All right. Mosley Architect, as council is aware, did conduct a facility needs assessment. That study did identify the current facility is not adequate for a police station. It identified what spaces are needed for current and future operations. It determined the current station would be too costly to renovate to address current and future needs. And we made the assumption that the city is not entertaining purchasing property. So we only looked at property that was owned by the city. If that's an incorrect assumption on our part, we can obviously begin looking at other properties. And it was determined through that the current location or the current property would be the best location. As council saw, your construction price right now on a pre-designed estimate is $3.05 million. That does include a 5% construction design contingency and a 5% cost escalation contingency. That price does not include the site testing, the FF&E, or miscellaneous fees that our consultant had put in there. So your total pre-design estimate came up to approximately $3.5 million. As we began looking at this and taking into consideration, some of the things like Ms. Stalford brought up. We don't want to finance desk and office furniture for 15 years by any stretch of the imagination. So, obviously, the approach would be to not finance anything, any part of this project beyond its useful life at any point in time. Another part of that conversation came up that we've been toying with and would really appreciate council's feedback on is we were looking at this thing from a design bid build. But there's nothing to say that we can't do it as a design build like we did with the fire station. That was, in my opinion, a very extremely successful project. The coordination and the collaboration between staff, the contractor, and the architect went very, very smoothly. The facility we're in now, the building itself, was done as a design bid build type thing. And that there can definitely be some confusion, headaches, obstacles to cross along the way. So one, wasn't sure if council had any notion one way or the other, which way you would like to go, whether it's a design bid build or as a design build like we did with the fire station. The other thing is in keeping, I guess, in tune or following the same steps that we took with the new fire station, you're really not going to know what your costs are until you get the bids back in. Right now you have a pre-design estimate. You have your, I won't even call it a conceptual design, but it's really a space needs design. Those parameters can be rearranged. However, we choose during the design process. The most logical next step would be to sometime at the first of the year, given the holidays and things, would be to put this out for a bid. Now that bid could be either for design only, or we could bid it like we did the fire station on a design build type parameter. When those bids come back in and we go through the process and vetting the respondents, then come back to council and really start diving specifically into the finances. This is what things are going to cost. Here's what it looks like from a financial picture. Here's the mechanisms that, I guess, the tools in the toolbox, so to speak, on how we can pay for these things step by step. If as council, again, just kind of setting up the dominoes one piece at a time and taking it step by step. But the most logical next step, in staff's opinion, would be for staff to go ahead and put together a bid packet to advertise out. It costs you a little bit of staff time, realistically. It doesn't mean that you're absolutely building the police station. Doesn't mean you're absolutely set on what the cost of the police station is going to be. It's just, to me, putting the bid out recognizes that, yes, we do need a police station. Let's take the next step and see where we are from there. And then we would take the next step after that, which would include, as council will recall, these are the things that council is comfortable with financing over, let's say it's the 15-year IPRB. This is what we're comfortable in financing. This is what we think we should pay cash for. So from there, we could then give that direction to our financial folks to put together a financial package to bring back to council at a subsequent meeting to put together or to consider. Timeline, that's probably one of the questions myself and even Chief Parker get asked a lot. That and what all's going to be inside of it and what's it going to look like. Timeline, I mean, really is going to depend on council. I think it can go as quickly or as slowly, as quickly to a certain extent, or as slowly as council is comfortable. But if we were to put out bids after the first of the year and receive bids in late February, early March, you probably have a funding ordinance to consider, I would say at the earliest, your April meeting, with a closing sometime in May, construction beginning sometime in June. And that would be what I would consider the fast track. I know that doesn't sound very fast, but a lot of information, a lot of things have to be done during those times. That would be your fast track. Would be an April, May approval of a potential approval on a funding ordinance, closing sometime in May, early June, and then releasing the contractor. Getting bids in late February, early March. That's going to give you, instead of a 30-day time window, it's going to give you up to a 45, potentially even could be kicked out to 60 days. I think the longer folks have to put together a bid packet on this, the better and more precise the numbers are going to get. From a furniture, fixtures, equipment standpoint, I know Chief Parker, he's here this evening to answer questions. Can probably provide a little bit of detail on some potential things that we don't have now that are needed. We would need to include in the new building. It's not just desks and chairs and bookshelves and things like that. Not every piece of furniture in the police station currently would be scrapped. A good bit of it would be moved over. But we have not done a furnishings assessment at this time. I really feel like it may be a little premature to do that, at least yet, until we actually have a true design. This is what the station's going to look like if we move forward type thing. So that's what I have at this point on the new police station. Be glad to take any questions council may have, any feedback. If there's other things that y'all think that maybe haven't considered yet that we need to go back and work through, be glad to do that at this time.
I guess I'm confused. We all sat at the workshop and we all came into agreement, and I believe even the newly elected council people had said that they were in agreement that we need a new police station. Design, bid, build, and design and build, explain that to me, please.
Okay, so a design, bid, build would be, we would put out for bid to hire an architect.
And how come we haven't done that already?
Because it costs money.
Because I haven't been given direction by council or any type of
You're asking for
price.
direction to put it out for bid?
Correct.
Okay,
That, yes,
now I understand.
yes.
What's the difference between a design, bid, build, and a
And a design build.
Right.
Okay. I'll start with the design build because it's probably the simplest, least time consuming. On a design build, you have a contractor, the builder, and the architect are a team.
Yeah.
They come in together, just like we did with the fire station. On a design bid build, you're going through multiple bid processes. One, at a minimum, you're going through two. You're going through one for the architect, getting the whole thing designed, and then you've got your construction documents. Then you're putting that out for bid for a contractor. So they're two separate entities.
So we already have an architect who designed it.
You have an architectural firm that did your space needs analysis, correct?
Okay. And pretty much they gave us the design of what it would look like.
They gave us a sample footprint, yes, sir.
In my experiences working with these types of projects, the design build actually saves you time and can save you money. And that's really what we're looking at for ourselves because of the price tag. But it also helps with control and flexibility with your projects. It enables you to have a better idea of your specifications actually being met in the RFP that's just put together.
Yep.
So it could save you of that. Also allows you flexibility of negotiating with those contractors that are usually better qualified through the architect because they usually work with them.
Yep.
So they will actually put it out specifically. That's not saying it's a closed spec, a preferred spec, but it does at least help with narrowing to make sure they are truly qualified, have qualified installers, everything, as well as follow up in the long run to make sure your product is installed correctly if there's a problem. So
It also helps you through
design
change
build.
order processes and things like that where, I've seen projects where on the design bid build type thing where the architect has specified the greatest of the great, and it's going to be beautiful. And your contractor's looking at you and saying, yeah, but you could go this mid-range and get the exact same lifespan and spend, a lot less. And now you're having to deal with, the architect put together the plans and it wasn't in conjunction with the contractor. I think the fire station is probably the first design build that we've done in the city. I was huge fan, talking to counterparts and peers around the state. It's almost become the industry standard, especially in government projects, for a lot of the same reasons that Ms. Stalford just mentioned.
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree.
Okay, so then I'm going to make a motion that we instruct the city manager to put a bid out for a 30-day period? 60-day period?
I would say no less than 60 days.
No less than 60-day period for design build for the new police station.
Let me ask a question. I
Well,
forget what it
let's
is.
get a second on that motion for discussion.
Second.
Second.
For discussion. Go ahead, Dottie.
So the only question about that is, putting it together is fine. Do you want it to come back to council? Does anybody want to see the draft RFP before it's issued? And I think that came up with the fire station, actually.
I would think that would be a normal course of,
Technically, it's not, but it's something we can, I mean, you talking about bring back the RFP itself before it's advertised?
Before it's advertised, yeah.
I mean,
We won't be here, so.
yeah. Just put it out.
okay,
Okay.
that is
What you
fine.
do.
We can most
should look
certainly
at
handle
it.
that.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any more
Too
discussion?
late then.
Oh, hang on a second. I want to hear from the attorney over here.
I mean, I think it's too late then. I know it might, I know we went through this with the fire station and with something else, and we said that we wanted to take a look at it, and it went out without us taking a look at it, and I don't know if we made changes to it or not in the long run. I think it's a good idea to look at it. I think it's too late to look at it after the bids come in. I mean, I would, the only reason to really look at it is to make sure that the RFP is sufficient enough and detailed enough to allow you to hopefully get back bids that are really responsive to your needs. And I'm not saying that it necessarily needs to be approved by city council, but I would maybe think that at least you as the mayor at that point might want to see it. But that is absolutely up to you.
If, I don't have an issue whatsoever, once we put it together, send it out to council for, feedback on it, if council wants to do that. It's not a problem either way.
Yeah, I mean,
which-
guess
Whatever,
that-
whatever council wants to do.
Right. I think that's the way to go.
So then, Charlie, I'm gonna make the suggestion that I just made to, Mayor Pro Tem David O'Neill, that once you put that RFP together, you submit that RFP to council. Council has a week to review it and make, sorry. Council, I'm gonna make the suggestion that you submit it to council via email. Council has a week to any questions or demonstrations or other manifestations of violence within a week. And if you don't hear anything, then it goes out. Is that acceptable to everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
So now are we going to discuss any other feedback we have regarding the actual concepts?
Sure.
Okay. We were talking about concept 1 and 2, and we were asked to look at everything and provide anything. It did seem that concept 2 was very favorable for many reasons amongst a lot of us. But I think that an additional curb cut out would have to be placed in so that when they are exiting from the police portion of the drive, it could allow for a left-hand turn. Right, so if that were to be allowed, that curb cut would need to be installed, or the driveway could be elongated so that it would go out of the natural curb cut that exists currently. I would also like to see bike racks as well as golf cart parking spots available because of the connectivity that we've been talking about. I didn't see anything like that there. And I'd like to see if there was any way of having an outside type classroom situation. We had talked about the indoor, which I think is fantastic, but it limits the quantity of people that actually can come. And if you were to have, let's say, a K-9 demonstration, or even multiple classrooms that want to come in and you're talking to the kids, or just a community group, it could be used for police department ceremonies. It could be just a whole variety of different reasons. But it would be really allowing what is a lot of your landscaping, minimizing that, which helps with green space, reducing your maintenance of that landscaping, that turf. So I think xeriscaping would be very helpful in this land because there's a lot of turf on this. Yes. So, yeah.
That would also be an awesome Eagle Scout project,
Yeah, it could
for an
be.
Eagle Scouts to get together and do benches to create kind of an outdoor classroom kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with this. I think it would really be, like we were talking about how wanting to be very inviting. This is really great, and you're going to see it as you're driving by. People come up. It's going to be a warm and friendly. If a kid's going home from school, they're going to go, yeah, I can go to the bathroom there. They're going to not even hesitate to walk right in.
I think there's some potential because of the property being immediately adjacent to City Hall property, to have almost a shared area for the exact things that you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah, that's it.
One thing that Jen mentions that I want to reiterate, you know, that perp walk that we have, you know, I really would prefer it to be behind the building, not so the kids walking home from school, going to
Yes,
use the
sir.
bathroom, see the perp walk. So if we could do that, that'd be great.
Yes,
there was
sir.
only
We've got that one in there. Yes,
One
sir.
other thing is I did not notice any type of walking trail that actually goes towards the front of it, other than the driveway.
There's some sidewalks in there, but keep in mind, this wasn't meant to be a true design. It was
Okay.
just more of a conceptual
Rendering,
space
yeah.
needs. Here's all the boxes that you need to fit inside the building, and here's just a kind of a layout of it. By no means meant to be the final design, but make sure that that's absolutely taken care of.
And of course, council will get to see, as will everybody, actually. It'll be a public hearing ultimately. to
Absolutely.
Look at the proposal and that sort of thing.
Yes.
So lots of opportunities to weigh in, I'm sure.
Charlie, you have your direction? We're good? Good.
Yes, sir. Thank
Item
you.
number 6A on the agenda is the approval of the performance and labor and surety bond, material surety agreement with Lake Ridge Pod H Map 4. City Manager Charlie Funderburk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As the mayor stated, this is for Lake Ridge Pod H Map 4, approval of the performance, labor, and material surety agreement. The planning commission did give a final approval to this final plat for Lake Ridge on October 9th, 2017. It was contingent upon council's approval this evening. Instead of doing an LOC, the developer actually put up a cash bond. It's already been deposited with the city in the amount of $55,000, or a
Nice.
cash deposit, I should say, not a cash bond, in the amount of $55,977.58. And we would ask for council's favorable approval at this time.
Council, entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the performance, labor, and material surety agreement for Lake Ridge Pod H Map 4.
A motion by David O'Neill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dottie Hersey. Any council discussion?
Mayor, if I can, before you, something I forgot to add. This is the
Final.
final one, isn't it, Susan?
Yep.
Or they have one more? Yeah, this is the final plat of Lake Ridge. So this is it for them.
Excellent.
Call the question.
Call the
all
question,
in favor.
thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 6B on the agenda is the approval of the Economic Development Candidate Commission. City Manager Charlie Funderburk.
One more vote. Right? We get it all that time. No more ties.
I think they got it.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, on the first vote, you have Jim Stalford, Tim Rooney, Michael, and I apologize, I think it's Baining, Brian Fair, and Dan Mace, were all voted through. And on the second vote, they're all still ties. We can either go at it again, or if council wants to just approve the 5 for this evening. You have 9 available spots per ordinance. However council would like to do it. If you would like to vote again on 4 of the 6 remaining,
Is it possible now, since Jim Stalford's been voted in the first round, that Jen doesn't need to recuse herself, or should she stay recused from the whole process? I mean, that might break the tie. If you're comfortable, Jen, I don't want to put you on the spot.
That's up to you, kid, whatever you're comfortable doing.
I researched everyone, so I would be prepared to.
Sylvia can prepare, if y'all would, I can do my city manager's report while she prepares another round for you, or however council would like to go about it.
Sylvia,
We'd
could
love
you,
to hear what you have to say.
Sylvia, could you give us our original one, our very first one back to when you bring back the one for us to revote? Because I forget who I voted for and who I didn't vote for, and at this point.
Charlie? City manager's report?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I think I can move through this pretty quickly. Just a brief update. I'll start with operations between TCVFD and TCFD. As council will recall, back in August when we had a workshop, I think council gave us very clear direction that the two separate entities needed to operate as one. There seemed to be a lot of who's on first, if I may. I'm pleased to report that things have progressed very nicely since that time. Let's see, Chief Szymanski has worked, he's put a lot of work and effort into this, and I would definitely appreciate his leadership in those efforts between the two entities. TCFD staff has taken over the trainings for all personnel, paid and volunteer, and are making sure the volunteers are aware of all the training opportunities they have throughout each month so that they can meet the minimum requirements. This includes the first and second Monday of each month and every Wednesday. And Chief tells me in January they will also be doing trainings on Saturdays to make sure that everybody does have an opportunity. They're also doing pre-scheduled trainings at the York County Training Center. They're to use their burn building. I'm sure if you're following them on Facebook, you've seen some movie-esque type pictures there that they've shared with us from the training. They are doing morning and afternoon sessions out there to try to accommodate folks' schedules. Per council's direction and as approved in the budget, Chief Szymanski has put together a pay-per-call program for the volunteers. Calls for service that certified volunteers come to are tracked every 2 weeks, and we'll be paying them once per quarter, with first payments going out in January. This is a separate line item from the payment that goes directly to TCVFD for their property and workers' comp insurance. Just recently, a few weeks ago, Chief Szymanski and I had a great meeting with Les Woods and Rich Barretto. Rich is also life member and on their board. They agreed that we're going to, starting in January, putting together a working group, small working group to start working on transitioning the volunteer firefighters underneath the city. Per our contract and agreement, I should say, with the TCVFD, they have to report to our chain of command on all calls for service. So this process is just actually moving towards that end and staying in touch with the agreement. So we're looking forward to having some work sessions with them after the holidays and moving forward with that. It's definitely not a rip the Band-Aid off type thing, but moving through it to make sure that we're keeping life safety and fire safety first and foremost in every decision that we make. So again, I appreciate Les and Rich's willingness to come in and meet and have such a positive meeting a couple weeks ago. So things are moving along well there. While I'm on TCVFD, I want to extend congratulations to our training officer, Kyle Dowdle. He was named this year as the Firefighter of the Year, so congratulations to him. Kyle's also the one that's predominantly doing the fire department's social media page, so he's doing a great job all around there. Also, Captain Justin Daly and James Broom, he is a captain actually at Fort Mill Fire Department, but one of our part-time firefighters, lives down in Lake Ridge. The only two firefighters in York County who have successfully completed the Fire Officer 3 training and certification. So congratulations to all three of those guys for a job well done. This past Friday at our annual employee luncheon, we named Donna Dorado, our clerk of court, and Tom Goebel, our development services director, as the employee of the year and department head of the year, respectively. Well-deserved honor for two just truly amazing individuals. A lot of great effort there this year, so congratulations to both of them. Kind of good news, bad news on this one. It seems we can't turn on the news these days without hearing about the heroin and opioid overdoses. This is not a socioeconomic issue. This isn't an issue amongst low-income or poverty-stricken areas. It is an issue that is strangling all areas of our nation and our state. Earlier today, as you may or may not be aware, Governor Henry McMaster declared a state of emergency due to the opioid epidemic here in South Carolina that has taken hold of our state and our country. The good news, the governor's office immediately after their press conference reached out to Chief Steve Parker. He will be serving on a task force team with the governor's office, Chief Keel, who is head of the Criminal Justice Academy, and the police chiefs from Myrtle Beach and City of Columbia to help devise an appropriate plan of action to combat this epidemic. They'll be working with other professionals from around the state, probably in the medical field and things of that nature, but really nice that they reached out to Steve Parker.
Congratulations, Chief.
It's nice to know that our chief of police is so well respected and thought of, not just in the law enforcement community, but in the governor's office and others around the state. So fantastic. Trying to wrap up. City offices are closed next Monday and Tuesday for Christmas and on Monday, January 1st for New Year's. The updated trash and recycle schedules are online on the city's website. Promise I'm getting close to the end. Thank you to all the volunteers and staff that have been a part of once again making the holiday season in TGK a great time for everyone. From Santa's helpers with the fire department driving around town, to our special elves getting him the over 175 letters from the kids so that he could respond to all of them, to dropping off cookies for our annual tree lighting, to decorating the tree, or decorating the city. A lot of people put a lot of time in. We just want to thank them for that. Special thank you to Mayor Shepherd and your family for your work and assistance, especially during the tree lighting and the festivities downstairs. Emily Jackley, Michelle McGuire in the Women's Club, the TGK Fire Department, Katie Paulson, Joey Blethen, Tim Gillette, Jeremy Hutchison, and the entire Public Works staff. Fantastic. I love Christmas time in this city. It takes a lot of people, or as they say, a village. So hats off to all those folks. And last but certainly not least, while I'm on my thank yous, I want to thank Jennifer Stalford for your 4 years of service on City Council, Dottie Hersey for your 8 years of service, and Mayor Shepherd for your 10 years of service. I realize we're going to get together again on January 2nd, but this being your last regular meeting, I want to take the opportunity to thank all three of you. Jennifer, I first started working with you when you joined the Beautification Committee and I was the Operations Director. It wasn't long after that that you and Tim and I started developing the idea of the Memorial Gardens. It's hard to remember at this point in time just exactly what that area looked like before. I appreciate and have enjoyed working with you for the past 4 years in this new dynamic, and I look forward to continuing to work with you in the future. Dottie, I remember the first time I saw you attend a city council meeting at the old city hall that was down by the marina, ready to go to war with everybody. When you joined council not long thereafter, I realized very quickly just how strong your passion for making our city truly great, how strong that passion really was. You and the mayor were both part of the team that gave me the opportunity to become the city manager here. I couldn't dream of working for another city as special as this one. Now the mayor, George.
We can skip that and
No.
move on to.
Nope. I first met you soon after you moved here from Long Island. It was when the city had partnered with the residents of Winsome Bay to build a park on a barren patch of dirt that was given to the city graciously by Newland. It wasn't much long after, I believe, you were elected to council, and then 2 years later became mayor. 10 years of service. Wow. Wow. I know there are probably days where it seems much longer than 10 years. And I'm sure there are also days that it seems there's no way it's been that long. You came in focused on strengthening our finances and making TGK the safest city around. I think we've accomplished both of those things, and you were able to get it done without increasing the millage rate. As I said to Dottie, you were part of the team that gave me the opportunity to lead the city that I have come to love dearly in my 17 years here. Lost my spot, sorry. And I can't thank you enough for your faith in my abilities. So thank you to all three, Jennifer, Dottie, and George, for your service and your dedication to our city. And last, I promise, this past Friday, as I mentioned earlier, we had our holiday luncheon, and I would like to say the same to all of council that I said to staff. Thank you for another great year. The amount of hard work and dedication to this city and its residents that all five of you put forth should not go without recognition. I know it isn't always easy, and it isn't always fun, and I'm very well aware of the fact that I'm not always everyone's favorite person. But it's because of you and each of your efforts, both individually and collectively, that this is such an amazing city. I am truly blessed to be a part of it. In a couple of weeks, we will begin a new chapter. But there are a few things that I'm sure will remain constant. And they are the passion and the spirit and the dedication of council and staff to continue to make TGK the absolute best. On behalf of myself and staff, thank you all for your service and your time. Merry Christmas to you and your families.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie. Any questions for Charlie?
About to cry, for Pete's
Now
sake.
we'll move on to council comments. Can we get a copy of that so we can comment back on January 2nd?
No.
No, sir.
Are we gonna vote
We're
again
gonna,
first?
we're gonna vote, or are we gonna go into,
Right.
while we're getting that, we'll do some council comments. Ryan, you wanna start us off?
I got nothing. Merry
Jen?
Christmas.
I
Jen?
was just gonna say Merry Christmas.
No.
Yeah. Safe travels to everyone.
Dottie?
Happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We'll see you on the 2nd for the change of command. I'll cry then, for real.
There you go. David?
Oh, I just wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and appreciate the staff, everything they've done for us this past year. They've been the greatest staff you can have, both chiefs over there, city manager, and everybody in attendance here. Just thanks everybody who worked so hard to make our city the greatest city in South Carolina. Merry Christmas.
Sylvia, do you need these back too?
I just have a few things.
She needs the original.
As is usually my custom on the last meeting of the year, I'd like to go over some of the things that we did in 2017. This is our 20th time we've met in 2017 to conduct the city business. Seems like a lot more than that, but it was only 20 times. They started the year by annexing the Cadence property to provide inventory homes that will allow for seniors to age in place. We created the TGK Forever Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit board whose primary focus is to raising money for Catawba Park and preserving parks and open space in TGK. We stood with 271 other cities in South Carolina against the bill H 3650 and H 3651, which was the business license bill. We annexed and rezoned properties on Dam Road to a PDD, providing a future commercial property in TGK. Passed an ordinance creating an economic development commission. We may even have a whole commission done tonight. We opened Hubert Graham Way. We designed and built and opened a new fire station on the eastern side of town. We added EMTs to each shift with the police department to run Priority 1 EMS calls with Piedmont EMS. Began a Business Watch community program with the TCPD. Obtained a grant to begin using body cameras with police officers. Completed a facility and space needs assessment for the police station. Completed a sewer rehab project for TCUD 2, and we are finally where we allowed to remove all the sewer blocks, all the sewer holding tanks for treatment plant 2. Installed the 9 new fire hydrants in traditional TGK that have been seriously needed for many years. In doing so, our fire department will provide better service to those areas of the city. Installed backup pump generators at a lift stations for TCUD 2 using a FEMA grant. Amended our zoning code to allow for solar panels. Extended the golf course golf management contract with Pinnacle to keep them here until 2022. Approved budgets with no tax millage increase for the 8th consecutive year. Approved a long-term lease with the Clear Springs and Duke Energy for property for Catawba Park.
Yay.
Revitalized the Heron Harbor Playground with volunteers from the neighborhood. Stabilized the shoreline at Pitcairn and added concrete sidewalks to the docks. Resurfaced 4 tennis courts. Replaced all of the old wooden playground benches in the parks around the city with new benches that look nicer and require very little maintenance. We did that by obtaining a PARD grant. Obtained money from the Catawba COG for a partial funding for the new water tower in Windhaven, $500,000. Obtained funding from C funds to finish Tega Drive from the firehouse to the end. Events and awards. We held 4 food truck rallies and concerts that were hugely successful. We celebrated the city's 35th birthday and another great July 4th celebration. Held one of our largest fall festivals to date. We are the #1 place to buy a home in South Carolina, the #1 safest place to live in the Charlotte metro area. Top 10 enterprise-friendly cities in South Carolina. #2 top safest small town in the U.S. #1 safest in South Carolina with a population of 10,000 plus. Things we've lost this year. Sergeant Anthony White and former council and staff member John Dervay. With that said, John Dervay's memorial will be January 27th at 1 p.m. at Wolf Funeral Home, according to his daughter, who I've been in contact with. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
You forgot item 8.
Go ahead. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will meet again on January 2nd, 2018 at 6 p.m. Now we're going to go over to Walt for public comments. You know, you never really comment there, Walt.
Walt Krasinski, 943 Knob Creek Lane.
Charlie?
You're being served.
You took my thunder.
Last meeting of 2017,
Yes.
last meeting where you all be together. So I'd like to thank all of you on city council, to Charlie and the city staff, to all the city workers that keep our city running, to the police and fire departments for keeping us safe. Special thanks to Jennifer for her 4 years. An extra special thanks to Dottie for her 8 years.
Thanks, Walt.
A super thanks to George for his 2 years on city council, his 8 years as mayor of Tega. You made Tega a special place. Thank you from me and all the citizens of Tega.
Thank you, Walt.
Thank you, Walt. We're still at a tie.
Well,
No way.
you've gotten closer. We'll say this. You have now 8 that have received an affirmative. You have a tie for the 9th position between 3 candidates. Does council want to approve the 8 and
Yes.
we'll take up the,
We'll approve the 8.
okay. Those names for the record are Jim Stalford, Tim Rooney, Mike Bainig, Brian Fair, Dan Mace, Alvis Cole, Don Masters, and John Sherwood.
Council, I make a motion that we accept the names just read to the Economic Development Committee.
Nice.
Second by David O'Neill. Any discussion? There being none, call the question. All in favor, sing by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 10 on the agenda is a motion to adjourn. Council, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion by Dottie Hersey. Do I have a second? Second by Ryan Richard. Any questions, comments, demonstrations of violence?
Amen.
Call the question. All in favor, sing by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. We're adjourned. See you guys.